Hello, I am Yohi Guy, the developer for cartoons in Danganronpa 2, and welcome to something new which I call Connecting Cases. In this video, I'm going to try to solve a murder mystery case in a Danganronpa fan game before it gets revealed to me when I play the trial. I got an inspiration to make this video from Chase Bridges, who does the Can I Solve thing before the reveal, and this video is going to be somewhat similar but mostly different. For this video, I am going to focus on Chapter 1 of Project Eden's Garden. I might do more of this in the future, maybe for the next chapters, maybe for the first case of cartoons in Danganronpa before part 2 of the trial comes out, but for this video, I'm going to focus on Project Eden's Garden. Before we begin, I must say that I highly recommend playing Project Eden's Garden and experience it for yourself. I made myself internet deaf for the past few days, and it was so worth it. That being said, this video will contain spoilers to Project Eden's Garden, so if you want to experience it yourself, now is the time to click off and play the game. Okay, that should be enough time. Spoilers. Wolfgang is dead! Yep, the lawyer guy, the supposed antagonist, who could have easily been the Togami of this game, is the first to die in this killing game. How did it happen? Allow me to read this Tozu tablet. The victim is Wolfgang Akere, the ultimate lawyer. He was discovered in the boiler room on the underground floor. He is kneeling in the water and his upper body is slumped over the concrete platform. Estimated time of death is 9:35 a.m. So what we got is where the body is found and when Wolfgang died. But what we don't have is the cause of death, which means the cause of death might be due to something other than the obvious. Now, here's how I'm going to explain my theory. I am going to talk about how and then who. How is more important as it tells the entire story. Once we figure it out how, then we can figure out who. Huge note, this is just a theory I thought of before I played the trial. I could be very wrong with this, and I can accept that. By the time I put this video out, I'll be playing the trial and will find out the truth roughly 3 to 5 hours after the video's release. With that out of the way, and the truth bullets in order, let's begin! How? So, how I'm going to explain this is by going through the timeline tree that I made so I could be able to fit all the truth bullets together. I managed to fit nearly all but 2, excluding the Tozu tablet. This is how I'm going to run it all down to explain my theory on what happened and ultimately who done it. We start at the beginning. This could either happen the day before or shortly before the murder took place, but certainly before 8 a.m. The culprit poisoned Wolfgang, causing him to be sick. It's possible that he put something in his meal since the stomachache was mentioned. This would explain why characters like Ingrid and Diana were sick as well. Maybe it was put into a meal that these 3 ate and now they don't feel good. This is clear by the pharmacy that has a lot of drugs and could easily cause problems. Wolfgang said that he plans to go to the tournament, though this is likely a lie due to the note telling him to go to the boiler room. The note said secret, so he likely can't tell anyone about it. Where he went to is the boiler room. On his way there, he coughed, spitting out blood due to him being sick. Nobody else seems injured, and there are no injuries on Wolfgang's body, so likely the blood on the sick was him being sick. Now from here, there are 2 different ways on how it could work, but the same result. Either the culprit attacked Wolfgang here, or attacked him when he entered the boiler room. Either way, the culprit would have attacked him here with the steel rolling pin and put him in the boiler room. The two fingerprints and a dent indicates that they used it to hit Wolfgang, likely at the back of the neck, causing the bruise and knocking him out. Now, before we continue, I also want to talk about the doorknob. Since the lock is now on the outside rather than the inside, the culprit likely unscrewed the lock and swapped it to the other side, meaning they can say, lock someone inside. And that's exactly what the culprit did to Wolfgang. How do we know Wolfgang was inside there and can't get out? Because of one little piece of metal that the sleepiest documenting man would notice. A little thin piece of metal. When Wolfgang woke up, he tried to leave, but the door was locked. At some point while in there, he might have tried to escape using a hair clip, or whatever this thing is, and attempt to lock the pick of the door, but to no avail. So, he is now trapped in the boiler room. He could have woken up 30 minutes later, give or take, close enough time for the game tournament to begin. So, you might be wondering, Wolfgang is trapped in the boiler room. The culprit can't get inside, and he has to die at some point. How is the killer going to kill him if they can't enter a locked room? What if I told you there is one place they could have used to access the boiler room? Let me show you the picture of the boiler room. Can you see it? It's the vent, the most important part of the murder case. I believe the culprit used this vent to gain access to the boiler room and killed Wolfgang, especially when the site of the vent is in line to where Wolfgang's body resides. So how did they kill Wolfgang with the vent? Two items might give a possible answer: the extended cord and the knife. While the tournament is played, the culprit likely got the extension cord that was part of the setup equipment and the knife from the kitchen and cut the internal plug to expose cut wires. The culprit likely put the extension cord through the vent and into the boiler room, and Wolfgang saw this. In fear, he tried to attack the culprit. Attacked with what? The taser gun! Since the taser gun is near the body and indication of being used, the blast doors are open, indicating that they have been fired. Wolfgang might have grabbed the taser gun and aimed it into the vent. Now, here's where things get tricky, because how exactly happened could be a lot of things, but the result will be the same. So, for the sake of simplicity, Wolfgang was electrified to death and the collapse on the side, dropping the gun near him. There could be a bomb that was in the generator that might have exploded, either by the cord or Wolfgang shooting the gun, which caused the shrapnel we found and the odd smell that Sean pointed out. This happened at 9:35 a.m. as Mark's DJ pad indicated, and Wolfgang is dead. Now, let's go on to who. Up until now, I only talked about the stuff that anyone could have done up until a certain point. Now we are in a stage where we might have the answer to who done it. With the game tournament occurring at the dining hall, it's a possibility that it could be someone who was there, as it requires them to be there to have access to the vent. There are 8 people who was there: Damon, Kai, Jet, Jean, Mark, Ava, Grace, and Cassidy. Out of the 8, 6 were part of the tournament. Damon was against Kai, Grace was against Jean, and Cassidy was against Jet. And since they were focused on the tournament, and we see it ourselves in this image, they were too focused on the tournament to do anything else. That leaves only 2 people who didn't focus on the tournament: Ava and Mark. These 2 weren't in the image. These 2 didn't say anything, so likely these 2 are our prime suspects. How to figure who is the main suspect is to continue with the timeline. With the blackout going on, the group left the dining hall and went into the underground level to try and put the power back on. When the group split into two and went into the storage rooms, Damon and Kai heard footsteps outside of the closet, and so did Ava, at least what she claims. Shortly afterwards, Damon went into the boiler room and found Wolfgang's body. We know the door in the boiler room was locked, but this also brings an interesting point. When the group was at the underground level, the culprit went to the underground level and unlocked the door, then left. So the question is, who done it? Well, for one, it can't be anyone who was outside the underground floor. Reason? Ingrid. Ingrid was there to see the group going down and was with Toshiko when the power was back on. And it can't be Ingrid because of Toshiko. So it can't be Ingrid, it can't be anyone outside of the underground level, because if Ingrid saw the group going inside, then they could have seen another person going inside or coming out, which leaves the culprit being someone from the tournament group. We already narrowed it down to Mark and Ava, and here is where we can rule out one of them because of location. You see, the group split into two groups to search for a backup generator. 4 closets, 4 groups. Jet and Cassidy were in storage closet B, where backup generator resides. Damon and Kai were at storage closet C, where they heard the footsteps. This means the culprit went past storage closet C, meaning they couldn't have been in storage closet A or B, and likely went into storage closet D. Guess who was in storage closet A and D? Ava was in storage closet A, and Mark was in storage closet D. So yeah, I am suspecting that the culprit is Mark. Mark might have taken his shoes off in storage closet D, left, unlocked the door at the boiler room, went back inside, passing A and C for Damon, Kai, and Ava to hear his footsteps, and went back into D to put his shoes back on, all without alerting Jean, which makes sense because of Mark's quiet demeanor. He doesn't speak much and he is much of a quiet person, and there is more evidence to back Mark being the culprit. If I'm being honest, at first glance I did think Ava was the culprit due to her being near the vent, but then I thought about it more and realized an issue with that. Mark would have seen her. But then you might ask, wouldn't the same be said with Ava seeing Mark? Well, the answer to that is no. Why? Because she is too focused on playing on her portable gaming device, as it was shown earlier when Damon tried to get her attention. Likely, when the tournament played out, Ava was focused on her handheld gaming device and didn't pay attention to her surroundings, missing Mark. Mark doesn't need to focus on the game or his own music as they are sounds. He just needs to play them and put the volume up, allowing him to see the room. This also means that nobody could have entered the room and used the vent, as Mark could have seen them. Speaking of music, this is also another reason why I suspect Mark when he played his music. Wolfgang could have woken up before the tournament began, and he might have been in the room for some time. The blood cough on the floor have been evidence that he was there for a while. My question is, why didn't he shout at the vent and alert everyone in the dining room that he was trapped? Answer: Mark's music. It was too loud for anyone to hear him. It's possible that this was Mark's intention, putting out loud music in case Wolfgang alert anyone. So, overall, with what I talked about and the evidence we got, I am going to lock it in. The culprit of the first case who killed Wolfgang Akere is none other than Mark Bursky, the ultimate music producer. Once again, I could be wrong with this. Maybe it could be Ava or Diana. Those two would be my second and third potential candidates. But my first is Mark. By the time this video comes out, I will find out who the culprit is after going through the trial. When that happens, I will put a comment down below to put in if I was right or wrong. So yeah. This is just a video of me putting out my theory before going into the trial. You might have figured it out yourself or know about it, but it was fun just theorizing before it all happens. Thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for part 4 of my gameplay of Project Seed and Garden, where I find out myself and reveal the culprit. Till next time!